Amy Foster crawled through the narrow service tunnels trying to stay quiet as alien voices echoed through the ship. The passages were barely wide enough for a human to fit through, and the aliens in their bulky armor could not follow her here. She moved carefully toward the lower decks, where fewer enemies would be stationed. The maintenance tunnels connected every major system on the ship. Amy had spent many hours exploring them during quiet duty shifts when she was learning about the vessel's design. Most crew members never entered these spaces, but Amy liked to understand how everything worked together. She reached a junction where several tunnels met and stopped to listen. Zephyrian voices came from the corridor outside, but they sounded distant. The aliens were probably searching other parts of the ship for any crew members who had escaped capture. Amy knew she had to be very careful not to make any noise. From her hiding place, she could access a computer terminal that connected to the ship's internal network. Amy had installed a secret partition in this system months ago when she first came aboard. It was against regulations, but she wanted a private workspace for her personal projects and research. The hidden partition was invisible to normal system scans and could only be found by someone who knew exactly where to look. Amy activated it now and began exploring what the aliens had done to the ship's computers. They had locked down most functions, but her secret access still worked perfectly. She discovered that the Zephyrians had connected their own portable command unit to the ship's main network. This gave them control over important systems like engines and weapons, but they did not understand human computer design very well. Their own technology used biological neural interfaces instead of digital logic. Amy realized the aliens were overconfident about their ability to control human technology. They thought their advanced systems could easily dominate primitive human computers. This gave her an advantage because they were not watching for the kind of attacks she could launch. She began by establishing contact with nearby human forces. Her messages had to be very carefully coded to avoid detection by alien monitoring systems. After several attempts, she managed to reach Captain Ryan Blake aboard the UES Thunderbolt, which was part of the patrol fleet in the next sector. Captain Blake responded that help was on the way, but his ships were 3 hours away at maximum speed. Amy checked the alien communication channels and learned that they planned to jump to hyperspace within 1 hour. Once they reached Zephyrian space, the human prisoners would disappear forever. The aliens were not just stealing one ship. Amy discovered they were downloading the complete tactical database that contained information about human fleet movements and defensive positions. With this knowledge, they could launch surprise attacks on Earth's colonies and military bases. In the cargo bay, Jake Martinez and the other prisoners listened to their guards talking. The Zephyrians spoke in their own language, but some humans had learned to understand basic alien words. Jake heard them discussing plans to use captured human ships to infiltrate Earth's defense network. He realized this was much bigger than a simple raid. The Zephyrians were planning a major offensive against human space and needed intelligence about Earth's military capabilities. The Defiant and its crew were just the first step in a larger war plan. Jake tried to signal the other prisoners without alerting the guards. He used hand gestures and quiet whispers to organize resistance plans. If they could create a distraction at the right moment, it might help whoever was still free aboard the ship. Amy worked at her terminal, accessing deeper levels of the ship's computer network. She found that the aliens had tried to disable the artificial intelligence system, but had not completely succeeded. The AI was still running in a limited mode and could communicate through text messages. The ship's AI reported that it was cut off from most ship functions, but could still monitor internal sensors. It had detected Amy's location and was trying to help her avoid alien patrols. The AI also confirmed that all other crew members except Amy were being held prisoner in the cargo bay. Amy began planning her counterattack against the alien systems. She could not directly fight the Zephyrians with weapons, but she could use her computer skills to cause problems for them. The key was to start small and build up to bigger disruptions without being detected. She started by introducing tiny errors into the environmental control systems. The temperature in some sections rose by a few degrees while humidity levels changed slightly in others. The aliens noticed these problems but assumed they were caused by incompatible technology rather than sabotage. Next, Amy created small delays in door operation timers. When aliens pressed the door controls, there was a pause of several seconds before the doors opened. This slowed down their movement through the ship and made them frustrated with human technology. She also generated false sensor readings that showed phantom contacts outside the ship. The aliens spent time investigating these fake signals while their real work was delayed. Each small problem added up to bigger delays in their schedule. Amy discovered that the Zephyrian Portable Command Unit was more vulnerable than she had expected. The aliens had connected it directly to the ship's network to gain better control, but this gave Amy a pathway into their own systems. She began studying their command protocols and learning how their technology worked. The alien technology was very different from human computers. Instead of using digital logic, they relied on bio-neural patterns that mimicked living brain functions. This made their systems very powerful, but also created weaknesses that could be exploited. Amy found that she could partially understand their command language by analyzing the patterns of signals sent between their portable unit and the ship's systems. The aliens used biological encryption that was almost impossible for humans to break, but Amy did not need to break it completely. She began writing a computer virus that could mimic some aspects of Zephyrian bio-neural patterns. The virus would not be perfect, but it might fool their systems long enough to cause serious damage. This was completely theoretical since no human had ever tried to hack alien technology before. Time was running short as the aliens prepared for hyperspace jump. Amy could hear them moving equipment through the corridors, and their voices sounded more urgent. She had to act soon or lose her chance to stop them from escaping with the ship and prisoners. The ship's AI sent her a warning that Zephyrian technicians were approaching her hiding place. Amy quickly shut down her terminal and crawled deeper into the tunnel system. She could hear alien voices getting closer as they searched for the source of the system problems. Amy realized that her small attacks had made the aliens suspicious. They knew someone was interfering with their systems but could not locate the source. This meant they would be more careful, and her next attack would have to be much more sophisticated to succeed. She made her way to another access point farther, from the alien search teams. From this new location, she could reach different ship systems and continue her electronic warfare. The aliens might control the ship physically, but the real battle was being fought in the computer networks, where Amy had the advantage. Amy Foster reached a new access terminal deep in the ship's lower sections, where the aliens had not posted guards. She connected to her hidden network partition and began the next phase of her electronic attack. The small disruptions she had caused earlier were just the beginning of what she planned to do. She accessed the ship's environmental systems and began making more serious changes. The gravity generators in several sections started fluctuating, causing the aliens to stumble and lose their balance. Air circulation fans began running at different speeds, creating annoying noise throughout the ship. The lighting systems became her next target. Amy programmed them to flicker randomly in some areas while going completely dark in others. The aliens had to use their own portable lights to move around, which slowed them down even more. They began to curse human technology for being so unreliable. Captain Thexvar grew angry as problems mounted throughout the captured ship. His technicians reported that human systems were malfunctioning, but they could not determine why. The aliens had expected to easily control primitive human technology, but instead found it frustrating and unpredictable. Thexvar ordered his troops to find and eliminate whoever was causing the problems. Search teams spread throughout the ship, looking for hidden humans, but the service tunnels were too narrow for their bulky armor. They could only search the main corridors and larger rooms. Amy monitored their communications through the ship's internal sensors. She learned that the aliens were becoming desperate to complete their mission and escape before human reinforcements arrived. This gave her an advantage because desperate enemies made mistakes. She decided to attack the navigation system next. Amy introduced calculation errors into the hyperspace jump computers that would send the ship to the wrong destination. The errors were subtle and would not be detected until after the jump was complete. The ship's artificial intelligence helped Amy by providing information about alien movements throughout the vessel. The AI could track heat signatures and movement patterns, even though it could not control most ship functions. It warned her when search teams came too close to her hiding places. Amy discovered that the Zephyrian Portable Command Unit was sending constant status updates to their main dreadnought. These communications used their bio-neural encryption, but Amy had been studying the patterns for hours. She began to understand some basic elements of their command structure. The alien command protocols used emotional and instinctive responses instead of pure logic. Their computers responded to patterns that felt right, rather than following strict mathematical rules. This made their systems very flexible but also unpredictable in ways their operators did not expect. Amy realized she could use this against them by creating command signals that felt correct to their systems, but actually contained hidden instructions. She began writing a more sophisticated virus that could exploit these psychological weaknesses in alien technology. Her virus would mimic the bio-neural patterns of a high-ranking Zephyrian officer. When the alien systems received commands from this fake officer, they would obey without question. The key was making the patterns convincing enough to fool computers designed to recognize emotional authenticity. Meanwhile, in the cargo bay, Jake Martinez had organized quiet resistance among the human prisoners. He used hand signals and whispered words to coordinate plans for creating a distraction when the time was right. The prisoners positioned themselves to move quickly when given the signal. Lisa Wong had noticed that some of the alien guards seemed nervous about the ship's malfunctions. They kept checking their equipment and talking among themselves about the unreliable human technology. This gave her hope that someone was still fighting back. Danny Rodriguez had been listening carefully to alien radio chatter. His knowledge of their language was limited, but he could understand basic military terms. The aliens were reporting problems to their command ship and requesting technical assistance. Amy launched her next attack against the ship's sensor systems. False readings began appearing that showed human warships approaching from multiple directions. The aliens wasted time and energy responding to these phantom threats while their real work was delayed. The Zephyrians became increasingly frustrated as one system after another developed problems. Their portable command unit showed that everything should be working perfectly, but the human ship refused to cooperate. Captain Thexvar began to suspect deliberate sabotage. Amy's virus was nearly complete, but she needed to test it on a smaller system first. She targeted the alien portable unit's communication array and uploaded a simple version of her code. The results exceeded her expectations as the array began sending random signals. The aliens noticed the communication problems immediately and tried to fix them, but Amy's virus had already spread to other parts of their portable equipment. Their own technicians could not understand how human computer code was affecting their bio-neural systems. Amy refined her virus based on what she learned from the first test. The new version could not only mimic Zephyrian command patterns, but could also learn and adapt to different types of alien systems. It was like a digital disease that could infect any technology it encountered. She prepared to upload the virus to the main ship's network, where it could spread to all connected alien equipment. This would be her most dangerous move, because once she started the attack, there would be no way to hide her location from the enemy search teams. The ship's AI warned her that alien technicians were trying to trace the source of the system malfunctions. They had narrowed down the possible locations and would find her hiding place soon. Amy had to act quickly or lose her chance to strike back. Time was running out as the aliens completed their preparations for hyperspace jump. Amy could see through the ship's sensors that they were disconnecting some of their equipment and preparing to leave. If they jumped to hyperspace before her attack succeeded, the prisoners would be lost forever. She made her final preparations and began the upload process. Her virus spread through the ship's network like wildfire, infecting every system it could reach. The alien portable command unit tried to resist, but the virus adapted faster than their defenses could respond. Alarms began sounding throughout the ship as alien systems failed one after another. The portable command unit's screen filled with error messages in Zephyrian script. Captain Thexavar shouted orders at his technicians, but they could not regain control of their equipment. Amy's virus had successfully infected the alien command systems, but she knew this was only the beginning. The real test would come when she tried to turn their own technology against them. She prepared for the next phase of her attack, while alien search teams closed in on her position. The battle for control of the ship was about to reach its climax. Amy had proven that human ingenuity could match alien technology, but now she had to survive long enough to complete her mission. Everything depended on the next few minutes as both sides fought for victory. Commander Jake Martinez stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, watching the stars through the main view screen. The ship moved slowly through space near Kepler Station, where supply ships came and went like busy insects. His crew worked at their stations, checking sensors and running system tests. Everything seemed normal and quiet. Chief Engineer Lisa Wong called from her station near the back of the bridge. Her voice carried the usual calm tone she used during routine operations. She reported that all engines were running at normal levels, and the power systems showed no problems. The ship was ready for anything that might happen during their patrol. Communications Officer Danny Rodriguez sat at his console listening to radio chatter from nearby ships. Cargo vessels reported their positions and destinations, while station control gave them permission to dock or leave. The normal sounds of space traffic filled the communication channels. Nothing seemed out of place. Systems specialist Amy Foster worked at her computer terminal running diagnostics on the ship's main computers. She had joined the Space Navy only 2 years ago after working as a civilian computer expert. Her skills with technology made her valuable to the crew, even though she was still learning military procedures. She liked the challenge of keeping complex systems running smoothly. Jake Martinez had commanded the Defiant for 3 years. The ship was not the biggest or most powerful in the human fleet, but it was fast and reliable. Its crew of 42 people worked well together and trusted each other completely. They had been through several dangerous missions and always came home safely. The Defiant carried powerful kinetic weapons that could punch holes through enemy armor. Its stealth systems could hide the ship from most sensors when needed. The combination made it perfect for patrol missions and quick strikes against enemy targets. Jake was proud of his ship and crew. Amy Foster noticed something strange on her sensors. A small distortion appeared at the edge of sensor range and then disappeared again. She checked her instruments twice to make sure they were working correctly. The distortion appeared again for just a few seconds before vanishing completely. She called out to Commander Martinez about the unusual readings. Jake walked over to look at her screen while she explained what she had detected. The readings showed something big moving through hyperspace, but the signature was different from normal human or known alien ships. Danny Rodriguez suddenly received an emergency signal from Kepler Station. The station controller sounded worried and spoke quickly about unknown contacts approaching from deep space. Before he could get more details, the communication cut off completely. Static filled the speakers where the controller's voice had been. Lisa Wong checked the engine status and reported that all systems were ready for combat if needed. The ship could accelerate to maximum speed or activate stealth systems within seconds. She also confirmed that the weapons were powered and ready to fire. The crew prepared for possible trouble. Jake Martinez ordered battle stations, and the bridge lights changed to red warning signals. Throughout the ship, crew members ran to their assigned positions. Gun crews loaded the kinetic cannons while engineers checked power levels. Everyone knew their job and did it without hesitation. The space around Kepler Station suddenly filled with bright light as something massive dropped out of hyperspace. A huge alien warship appeared where empty space had been just moments before. The vessel was 3 times larger than the Defiant and covered with weapon ports and armor plating. Amy Foster's computers identified the ship as Zephyrian design. The Zephyrians were known throughout human space as dangerous enemies who attacked without warning. Their ships used advanced shielding technology that made them very hard to damage in battle. They never asked for surrender and rarely took prisoners. The alien dreadnought moved toward Kepler Station with obvious hostile intent. Its weapon systems powered up, and energy readings spiked across Amy's instruments. Jake Martinez knew his smaller ship could not fight such a powerful enemy alone, but he could not abandon the people on the station. He ordered Danny Rodriguez to send a distress signal to the nearest human fleet units. The message would take time to reach help, and more time for ships to arrive. The Defiant would have to hold off the Zephyrian attack until reinforcements could get there. The alien ship launched small fighter craft that swarmed toward both the station and the human destroyer. Lisa Wong pushed the engines to maximum power as Jake maneuvered to intercept some of the fighters. The Defiant's guns opened fire, sending streams of metal projectiles into space. Several alien fighters exploded under the human weapon fire, but more kept coming. The Zephyrian dreadnought itself began firing massive energy beams at Kepler Station. The station's shields flared bright blue as they absorbed the attacks, but everyone knew they would not last long. Jake Martinez realized the aliens had set a trap. They had somehow known the Defiant would be patrolling this area and had planned their attack accordingly. The distortions Amy had detected earlier were probably advanced scouts marking the human ship's position. The main alien ship suddenly changed course and headed straight for the Defiant. Jake ordered evasive maneuvers, but the human ship was too close to escape. Powerful tractor beams reached out from the dreadnought and grabbed hold of the smaller vessel. Amy Foster watched her instruments as the alien beams overwhelmed the ship's engines. Lisa Wong reported that power systems were failing under the strain of trying to break free. The tractor beams were too strong and pulled the Defiant steadily toward the enemy ship. Docking tubes extended from the Zephyrian vessel and attached to the human ship's hull. Cutting tools began burning through the outer doors while the crew prepared for boarding action. Jake Martinez distributed weapons to his people and organized defensive positions throughout the ship. The aliens cut through the hull and poured into the Defiant in overwhelming numbers. They wore advanced battle suits and carried energy weapons that could cut through human armor easily. The crew fought bravely, but the odds were hopeless against so many enemies. Captain Thexvar led the Zephyrian boarding party personally. He was a tall alien with gray skin and 4 arms that allowed him to use multiple weapons at once. His troops followed his orders without question and showed no mercy to the defending humans. The aliens captured the bridge first and then moved toward engineering. Jake Martinez and most of his crew were taken prisoner and herded into the cargo bay. The Zephyrians secured all important areas of the ship within minutes of boarding. Amy Foster had been working at her station when the attack began. As aliens entered the bridge, she slipped away through a maintenance hatch that led into the service tunnels. The narrow passages ran throughout the ship and connected to every major system. She crawled through the dark tunnels, listening to the sounds of battle echoing through the ship's structure. Her heart pounded as she tried to think of some way to help her captured friends. The aliens controlled the ship now, but Amy knew its systems better than anyone. Amy Foster watched her virus spread through the alien command systems, while heavy footsteps echoed in the corridor outside her hiding place. The Zephyrian search teams were getting closer, and she could hear them talking about finding the source of their technical problems. She had minutes at most before they discovered her location. Her virus had successfully infected the alien portable command unit, but Amy realized she needed to do something much more ambitious to save her crew. The Zephyrians still controlled the ship physically and could complete their mission even without their advanced technology. She needed to turn their own weapons against them. Through her connection to the alien command unit, Amy could see data streams flowing back to the main Zephyrian dreadnought. The two ships were connected by quantum communication links that allowed instant coordination between their computer systems. This gave Amy an incredible opportunity that no human had ever attempted before. She began modifying her virus to attack not just the portable unit, but the main alien warship itself. This required her to solve their bio-neural encryption in real time while maintaining her hidden connection. The task was almost impossibly complex, but Amy had no other choice. The alien encryption used emotional pattern recognition that was completely different from human digital security. Instead of mathematical keys, the system responded to psychological profiles that mimicked the thought patterns of authorized users. Amy had to become someone she was not in the digital realm. She studied the command patterns flowing between the ships and began to identify the bio-neural signature of Captain Thexvar himself. The Zephyrian commander's emotional patterns were distinctive, with aggressive tendencies and absolute confidence in his authority. Amy started building a fake profile that could mimic these characteristics. Captain Thexvar stood on the bridge of his own dreadnought, watching the status reports from the captured human ship. The technical problems were annoying, but not serious, enough to abandon the mission. His troops would complete the data download and execute the prisoners before jumping to hyperspace. Amy's virus reached the quantum communication link and began transmitting itself to the main alien ship. The process was incredibly slow because she had to disguise each packet of code as legitimate command data. One wrong signal would alert their security systems and shut down her connection completely. The search teams found her access terminal and began trying to trace the connection back to its source. Amy could hear them moving through the maintenance areas, getting closer to her tunnel system. She worked frantically to complete her virus upload before they could stop her. Jake Martinez sensed that something was happening throughout the ship. The alien guards seemed nervous and kept checking their communication devices. He caught the attention of Lisa Wong and Danny Rodriguez using subtle hand signals to prepare them for possible action. Amy's virus finally reached the main computer core of the Zephyrian dreadnought. The massive alien ship's systems began experiencing the same malfunctions that had plagued the captured human vessel. Warning lights flashed on alien control panels as their technicians tried to understand what was happening. The virus spread through the dreadnought's network faster than Amy had expected. Alien bio-neural systems were designed to share information quickly and efficiently, but this also made them vulnerable to rapid infection. Her code jumped from system to system like a digital plague. Amy realized she was running out of time as the search teams closed in on her position. She could hear them cutting through bulkheads to reach the service tunnels where she was hiding. Her location would be discovered within minutes, but her virus needed more time to complete its work. She made a desperate decision to accelerate the attack, even if it meant revealing her presence. Amy began sending direct commands through her fake bio-neural profile, ordering the alien systems to shut down their security protocols. The commands felt authentic enough to fool the Zephyrian computers. The main alien ship's computer core accepted her commands and began executing shutdown procedures throughout critical systems. Weapon batteries powered down while shield generators went offline. The mighty dreadnought started becoming helpless as its own systems turned against it. Captain Thexavar received emergency reports from his bridge crew that their ship was experiencing massive system failures. All attempts to regain control were unsuccessful, and the failures were spreading to backup systems. He ordered his technicians to physically disconnect the quantum communication link. Amy detected the aliens trying to cut her connection and launched her final attack. She uploaded the complete command authority of her fake bio-neural profile to both ships simultaneously. If successful, this would give her administrative control over all connected alien systems. The upload process required enormous computing power, and Amy pushed the ship's processors to their maximum capacity. Heat buildup in the computer cores triggered automatic cooling systems throughout the vessel. The aliens could track these power fluctuations directly to her hiding place. Search teams reached the tunnel entrance where Amy was concealed and began cutting through the access hatch. She could see sparks flying as their energy tools burned through the metal barrier. Her upload was 90% complete, but she needed 30 more seconds to finish. Jake Martinez heard the commotion in the maintenance areas and realized someone was making a last stand against their captors. He gave the signal to his fellow prisoners, and they began creating a distraction by singing an old Earth song. The confused guards tried to make them stop. Amy's upload completed just as the aliens broke through her hiding place. Her virus had successfully established fake administrative authority over both ships and was beginning to execute her pre-programmed commands. She smiled as alien hands grabbed her and dragged her from the tunnel. The Zephyrian dreadnought's main computer accepted Amy's fake identity as the highest-ranking officer in their fleet. Her virus began issuing orders that the alien crew could not override or ignore. Weapon systems locked onto their own ship while engines prepared for emergency maneuvers. Captain Thexvar watched in horror as his own ship's systems turned against him. Control panels showed that someone with supreme authority was commanding their technology, but no such person existed. The bio-neural profiles were perfect forgeries that his computers could not detect. Amy was brought to the bridge of the captured human ship where Captain Thexvar demanded to know what she had done. She looked at him calmly and explained that she had given his own computers new orders. The alien commander did not understand how this was possible with human technology. The virus had spread throughout both ships and was now executing Amy's master plan. She had not just hacked alien technology, but had convinced it to recognize her as its legitimate commander. The psychological warfare built into Zephyrian systems had become their greatest weakness. Alarms sounded throughout both ships as Amy's commands took effect. The aliens found themselves trapped by their own security systems, while their weapons and shields responded only to her authority. She had accomplished the impossible by thinking like her enemy instead of fighting them directly. Amy Foster stood on the bridge surrounded by confused Zephyrian guards while her virus completed its takeover of both ships. Captain Thexvar demanded answers, but Amy simply waited for her commands to execute. She had programmed everything in advance, knowing she would be captured before seeing the results. The alien Dreadnought's computer systems fully accepted Amy's fake bio-neural identity as Supreme Fleet Commander. Her virus began issuing orders that the Zephyrian crew could not countermand or ignore. Their own security protocols worked against them as the ship's artificial intelligence recognized only Amy's authority. Warning lights flashed throughout the massive alien warship as Amy's commands took effect. The Dreadnought's weapons turned toward its own hull, while shield generators powered down completely. Engine systems prepared for emergency maneuvers that would tear the ship apart if executed. Captain Thexvar received frantic reports from his bridge crew that their ship was completely out of control. Every attempt to regain command authority failed because the computers insisted that a higher-ranking officer had already given different orders. The bio-neural patterns were perfect forgeries that their security systems could not detect. Amy's virus had learned the deepest command protocols of Zephyrian technology by studying their emotional and psychological patterns. Instead of trying to break their encryption, she had convinced their systems that she belonged there. The aliens had never imagined that another species could understand their bio-neural interfaces. The captured human crew in the cargo bay felt hope returning as strange things began happening throughout their ship. Alien guards received urgent messages on their communication devices and seemed increasingly worried about something. Jake Martinez smiled, knowing that someone was still fighting for their freedom. Amy activated the next phase of her plan by commanding both ships to establish new communication links with approaching human forces. Her virus overrode alien security protocols and began broadcasting surrender signals in perfect Zephyrian military code. The aliens could not stop their own equipment from betraying them. Captain Ryan Blake aboard the UES Thunderbolt received the unexpected surrender transmission and immediately ordered his fleet to maximum speed. The message contained detailed information about Zephyrian ship positions and defensive capabilities. Blake realized that someone had accomplished the impossible by turning alien technology against itself. The alien Dreadnought's weapon systems locked onto the Zephyrian troops aboard the captured human ship. Amy's virus identified them as hostile boarders and began targeting procedures. Captain Thexvar watched in disbelief as his own ship prepared to fire on his soldiers. Amy spoke calmly to the alien commander, explaining that his technology now recognized her as the supreme authority in their fleet. Every computer system in both ships would obey her commands while treating Zephyrian personnel as unauthorized intruders. Their own security was now her weapon. Thexvar ordered his technicians to physically destroy the computer cores if necessary, to regain control. The technical staff rushed to carry out his orders, but found themselves locked out of critical areas by their own security systems. The ship's artificial intelligence protected Amy's virus from any interference. Amy commanded the human ship's systems to restore power and release all locked doors. Her crew members found themselves free to move while their alien captors were trapped by malfunctioning equipment. The roles had completely reversed through digital warfare instead of physical combat. Jake Martinez led his crew in retaking their ship from the confused Zephyrian guards. The aliens found their weapons would not fire, and their armor systems had shut down. They surrendered without resistance when faced with armed humans and malfunctioning equipment. Lisa Wong rushed to engineering and began restoring full power to all ship systems. The engines came online smoothly while weapons charged to full capacity. Amy's virus had protected the critical systems from alien tampering while appearing to cooperate with their demands. Danny Rodriguez established contact with the approaching human fleet and provided them with complete intelligence about Zephyrian ship capabilities. Amy's virus had downloaded their entire tactical database, including fleet positions and planned attack routes against human colonies. The alien dreadnought's crew abandoned their bridge as their own ship's weapons tracked their movements. Amy's commands had turned the mighty warship into a floating prison for its own personnel. They could not escape because their shuttle bays had sealed shut under her authority. Amy used the dreadnought's superior communication systems to contact Earth. Command directly. Her report about captured Zephyrian technology and intelligence would revolutionize human understanding of their enemies. The psychological weaknesses she had discovered could be exploited in future conflicts. Captain Blake's fleet arrived to find both alien ships completely under human control. Amy had accomplished something that military strategists considered impossible by defeating superior technology through pure ingenuity. Her understanding of alien psychology had given humanity its greatest victory. The Zephyrian prisoners were transferred to human custody while their ships were secured for detailed study. Amy's virus had preserved all alien databases and technical specifications intact. Human scientists would spend years analyzing the captured technology for defensive improvements. Jake Martinez recommended Amy for immediate promotion and commendation for her extraordinary actions. She had saved not only her crew, but had potentially changed the balance of power in the war against the Zephyrians. Her methods would be studied and adapted for future digital warfare operations. Amy Foster became the first human to successfully hack alien bio-neural technology. Her techniques opened new possibilities for electronic warfare that could level the playing field between human and alien forces. Earth's military began developing specialized cyber warfare units based on her innovations. The captured Zephyrian dreadnought was retrofitted with human systems while preserving its advanced capabilities. Amy supervised the integration process to ensure that human crews could operate the hybrid technology safely. The ship would serve as a test bed for future human-alien technological fusion. Captain Thexvar and his crew faced interrogation about Zephyrian military plans and capabilities. The intelligence they provided helped human forces prepare for future alien attacks. The psychological impact of their defeat spread throughout the Zephyrian fleet, reducing their confidence in technological superiority. Months later, Amy stood on the bridge of the rebuilt UES Defiant, watching stars through the main view screen. The ship now incorporated the best of both human and alien technology, creating a more powerful vessel than either species had built alone. Her crew worked confidently at stations that combined familiar human interfaces with advanced alien capabilities. Jake Martinez commanded the hybrid ship with pride, knowing that his crew had proven human adaptability could overcome any challenge. The Zephyrians had underestimated human creativity and paid the price for their arrogance. Future enemies would not make the same mistake. Amy Foster continued developing new techniques for digital warfare while training other specialists in her methods. She had shown that understanding an enemy's psychology was more important than matching their technology. Human ingenuity remained their greatest weapon in the struggle for survival among the stars.